Hello, horse racing fans. Welcome to the Preakness episode of the Inside Post. Today we will be diving into the Saturday Preakness card, giving you our best bet and long shot plays for each of the stakes races leading up to the big Preakness. So we're going to kick things off with race 6 in here, the Grade 3 Chickling Stakes. If this is your first time watching, make sure to hit that subscribe. We are so close to 1,000 subscribers. We are hoping to hit it before the Preakness. So if you have not watched our videos before, this is your first time, again, smash that subscribe. Let us know you're watching. All right, we're going to dive right into this. And our top pick in here is going to be number 6, Frost Free. This is one of our inside picks, best bets for the day in here. Number 6, Frost Free with Irad Ortiz for Brett Creighton. Has been a board hitter in the last 2 races, a second and a third, coming out of two $200,000 stakes races at Oaklawn Park. And winner of an allowance of non-winners of 1 previously before that. Does have a race over the slop track going 6 furlongs. So again, if you were paying close attention to the weather, it could be a little bit sloppy, muddy, and some crazy weather for Preakness Saturday. So we've kind of handicapped some of both angles in here, but more than likely it's going to be wet. So that's our top pick. And going back to the inside, Mr. Skylight is our second choice. Flavion Pratt for Riley Mott. Another one coming out of an optional 100K non-winners. Winner there as well, and stepping into graded stakes company also. And our long shot is going to be number 4 in Sweet Sadi J. This is Norm Cash, no rider currently. Possibly could get a leg up from Barbosa or even Julian Leperoux, maybe even Dylan Davis if he comes in to the Pimlico track. 15-1 currently right now. The horse is 6-0 so far in 2024. Comes out of the Lafayette, finishing third, an optional claiming of 80, finished second. So it's been getting better. The horse, we are using it in here just for the off-track chance of the mud. The horse is, I think it's like it's 4-0 on the wet, but it's ran second in 2 of those outings. So has some familiarity and is able to run second, has some early speed. That's usually what we see in the wet tracks. The horses that can get out early kind of cause problems in the mud. Race 7, we have the Gallette Grade 3 Gallette in here going a mile and a 16th as of now on the turf. Who knows what we will see come Saturday. So kind of got 2 things going in here. Top pick, Fluffy Socks. If it's on the turf, should be a heavy favorite in here. Currently 6-5, another Irad Ortiz, and this is Chad Brown. Comes out of the Jenny Wiley, the Hillsborough, the Pegasus World Cup, the Matriarch, and the Matriarch probably was the best race, finishing second in there. It was beat out by like Dadia, Sparkle Blue, so it's definitely ran in some class. There is no class in here for Fluffy Socks that it's been running against. Fluffy Socks should be the class of the field in here. But if we're getting an off track, who knows what's going to happen with that. But definitely Fluffy Socks could be a single coming in on a normal turf course. Second pick, we're going to try Dana's Beauty. This is a Turfway shipper. That's right, Turfway shippers. You know we love these Turfway shippers. Usually can do pretty good on an off track. The horse has been kind of off synthetic on its slop at fairgrounds. So probably one that's going to stick to if it does come off the turf. This is our second pick at 8-1. Luis Saez, Mike Maker. Saez is known for his gate speed and getting horses out of the gate and set up. So if this is something that is ran on a type of wet turf, or we get this to the main track, Luis Saez should be able to shoot this horse out early. Number 4, Cat's Timber is one to consider. This one will be main track only coming in if it is. And number 8, Ninja Abario, another one for main track only that has had to go over the slop as well. Number 8, race 8, 6 furlongs. We have the Grade 3 Maryland Sprint. So these sprinters coming in here looking to pick up a little bit of grade 3 action. Top pick right off the rail, we're going with Coastal Mission. Winner last time out in I believe it's the Frank Whitley $100,000 at Laurel. Has ran on like 6 or 7 off tracks and has done fairly well. 8 for 6 so far on a wet track. 3 for 1 going at this distance. As you can see, ran in the Stymie, finished 4th. Cigar Mile was a mud, finished 5th, and then kind of picked it up on wet fast, sloppy, muddy, and has 6 wins to tie into it. So, if it's a mud track, Coastal Mission looks to be a really good horse coming in on a slop-filled track. Second pick, we're going to use Prevalence. Of course, this horse was a big buzz horse going back to when it was possibly on the Derby Trail, comes off of the Derby Trail, runs into Jackie's Warrior, and then just takes a hard shot, trying some different maidens. Was second, I believe, in this race last year. Got beat out by Straight No Chaser. Does rebound, comes out of an allowance or an optional claiming race. With Irad Ortiz, we'll get Irad Ortiz aboard again for Godolphin and Brendan Walsh. The big question mark is what's the horse going to do on an off track? Does have a win, but this was 2022, so 2 years ago. The horse hasn't seen an off track since. I think has some early speed to be a player if it is an off track. So one to probably take into consideration using the 1 and the 2 in here. And our long shot going to the outside, a little bit out long shot in Bourbon Bash with Joel Rosario for Dwayne Lucas. Another one that has a race over the muddy track. This was back in January at Oaklawn Park, finishing 3rd in there, and then has kind of topped it off with a first place win and an allowance, and then a second in the St. Matthews, a $200,000 stakes race at Churchill Downs. Another one with some early speed. So a lot of these runners that we've kind of noted in here all have early speed. There's really no big closer besides Coastal Mission, and it's not like a deep closer. So a lot of these horses are definitely going to be vying for that early lead position. So this could be a very good race and hopefully not a race where we have like a pace meltdown kind of situation. Race 9, moving right along back to the turf. We're going a mile here for the James Murphy. This is just a $100,000 stakes race in here, and we see... Again, are we going to be on the turf or is it going to be muddy? We're going to use number 10, a Brumar. This one comes off of course, 4, 5, I think, turf races. So could be one that could be scratched out, but kind of one that you have to take into consideration. Comes out of the American turf. Churchill was beat out by the Turfway shipping trio, Chikari and Laganos, all of those in that big American turf that paid off crazily. So comes back in here with a little bit easier task. So kind of coming in off of a class drop for Irad and Safi. Picked up a win in the Colonel Liam. His training really well. The workouts look really good on the Pimlico track. It's just, what's the horse going to do with an off track? If we get a yielding or if we just get, the wet turf, it could be interesting to see what's going to happen with some of these turf races on Saturday. Next up, we're going Copper Tax in here. This one is a main track only horse, and this could go main track only. The horse is 7-5 if it is main track, which would be the favorite. In here has several wins, 4 wins on the wet or muddy surface, so one definitely to take into consideration. This one was pointed to the Preakness and is opted for this. Interesting enough, so we'll see. And our long shot, number 1, Lucky Jeremy. Yes, this horse was on the Derby Trail, come out of the Sunland Derby, went to the Jeff Rubies, went to Lexington, and just did not have much in any of those. Biggest win was probably that Sunland. I think it was like $100,000 stakes race, kind of setting it up for the Sunland Derby in there, but always ran into really good horses in both the Jeff Ruby and the Lexington. So we'll see. This one does have a win over a slop track. This one's kind of getting a lot of talk right now. If it is an off track, to be a really good runner and one long shot play, currently at 10-1, looks like a good spot play. Race number 10, we have the Sir Barton. Going a mile and 16th in here, the Big Sir Barton race. Top pick, we're going with Tuscan Sky. We have Tuscan Gold in the Preakness. This is Tuscan Sky for Todd Pletcher. Spendthrift Farms, Luis Saez is going to get the mount in here. Comes out of a 7th place finish in the Wood Memorial. Before that was 2 for 2 lifetime before stepping into that graded stakes Kentucky Derby Trail, and just had nothing to show for it. So we'll see if the little bit of distance cut back helps this one. Going back to a mile and 16th. Has been training really well leading up to this, so kind of takes a little bit of time off out of the wood. They kind of repositioned, restructured what they wanted this horse to do, and decided let's try a little bit of a cutback in distance. Still 3 for 2 lifetime. Just again in that wood, the horse just didn't fire for them that day, but it did pick up its 2 wins again on a muddy track. So here we go. We have another mutter in here out of Vino Rosso. So one to take into consideration if we do have that off muddy track. And we're going to use number 5, Corporate Power, 9 to 5 morning line favorite right now. Claude McGahee, Javier Castellano does get the blinkers on for the first time. Comes out of the slop at an $80,000 optional claimer at Aqueduct, finishing second in there. Has been the heavy favorite in its last two starts. So again, has been bet heavily. Has lost as favorite the last time out. So we'll see. Maybe the slop isn't what this horse wants. Kind of has a late speed factor. Tuscan Sky has an early speed factor, and that usually kind of bodes well going in the slop. And our long shot in here is number 7, Mighty Message, Tyler Gaffalione for Tom Amos. This one comes out of Oaklawn Park. Winner there of an optional, claiming 100,000, non-winners of 2. Posted an 83 speed figure in there. Does have a run over the slop, but finished 5th in there. So maybe not one that's going to take well to the slop, but does have some tacticalness that can be used on and off track. And a 10 to 1, the connections alone is worth a shot. And race 11, we got 5 furlongs on the turf. This is the Jim McKay Turf Sprint. In here, as you can see, we have a lot of question marks of what we're going to do with some of these horses, if depending on what the track's going to look like. Where'd my top pick? Okay, number 12, there he is, on the outside, Beer Can Man. Yes, the winner of this race last year comes back in, but he's going to have a tough go depending on what the track's going to be. We don't know. If he sticks it out, tries to run on this off track, or depending on how much rain we get, if they take all of it off the turf, we will see. He's not ran on a wet track but once and did not fare well on that. But if we are handicapping for turf, I mean, this horse is really good. Again, won this race last year, comes back in trying to defend his title in here, and rightfully so at 5 to 2, should be the likes to defend it very well. Comes out of 4 graded stakes races, coming back into this 100K turf sprint, so definitely coming into some class relief in here. And like I said, if this was on the turf, this one is a sure pick for that. Second, Boats a Rockin'. This one's kind of had some trainer change in the last probably 5 months, I would say. Brendan Culp right now is the trainer. Looks like Jose Rodriguez will get the mount on this one instead of Trevor McCarthy. 94 speed figures in his last 2 starts. Again, another one that's probably sticking to the turf and is not raced on and off track, but maybe twice. So we'll see moving forward if this one's a player. But this one at 6 to 1 is worth a shot here. Kind of like a hometown horse for these connections. And our long shot, Karatari, Luis Saez, Brian Lynch. Another one that's come out of an optional claiming race. Does have some bigger stakes races. Again, ran in the turf sprint at Churchill Downs a year ago. Was a big price in there. Gulfstream Park Turf Sprint ran in there, finished second. It was the favorite. So kind of trying to pick up the pieces of what it was as a 7 or 6 year old. This is an 8-year-old horse right now. 37 career starts. So we'll see. Worth a shot. I like the Saez getting him out in here with some early speed, especially on an off track. He just seems to be able to get horses out to the front on a mess of a track. And as you can see, Groom's All Business is one to take into consideration for off track. Smooth B, the number 6 for the off track, and number 11, Witty. Again, so tough to determine what the weather's going to be like. We kind of try to throw 2 different horses in here. And race 12, we have the dinner party, the grade 3 dinner party stakes going again on the turf. This one is 1 mile and 1/8. Again, it's just up in the air right now of what could happen. But we're going to the outside, and here in our top pick, Fantastic again, big price, 12-1 right now. John Velasquez for Wesley Ward, another Turfway Park shipper that we love. We know we love those Turfway Park shippers. Always big prices, and they come into big stakes races. Again, one that's been running on the synthetic, so we'll see. The horse could transition to an off track fairly easily. But sometimes Wesley Ward does not like to do that. So we'll see what the track's going to be like again. But this one's a fun one to use and a good one for that. 95, 96 speed figures those last 2 times. Comes out of that Kentucky Cup Classic where it was beat out by Cellist and a Tone, who's also in here. Like the distance again, sticking to the same. The horse has been really good in the past 6 starts, I believe. 3 wins, and then has hit the board the other 3 times, 2/3. So it looks really good coming in here. Hopefully we get a pretty good track for this one to run on. And the connections in Wesley Ward kind of say, hey, let's throw it out there. Let's give it a shot. 12-1. Yes, please. Next up, we have number 10, Emmanuel. This is our second pick in here. This is going to be Irad's mount for Todd Pletcher. Comes off of the Keeneland Yielding, going a mile, so it's going to be stretching out. This was the maker's mark. 94 in there, finishing 5th behind Masters of Sea, Naval Power, a loaded maker's mark mile. Winner of the Gulfstream Park Turf Grade 3 Stakes race. In there was the favorite 97 speed figure. The horse has had some really good speed figures. And is coming out of grade 1 after grade 3 stakes race. So definitely the class of this field coming in for sure. A little bit of class relief that it's going to get. It's just which Emmanuel is going to show up. The turf, when the 4-star Dave, I mean, we just never know. And again, it's not going to have any class compared to what it's had to run against like Masters of Sea or Naval Power. And our long shot, we're going with a Tone again. This one beat out Fantastic again at Turfway Park in that Kentucky Cup Classic. So one to use. We'll get Luis Saez aboard with Mike Makers. So I feel like we're using Saez and Irad a lot on Saturday. So we'll see. Hopefully they come through for us. But at 10-1, coming out of a second place finish last time out, has ran against Emmanuel and some of the other horses in here like Adhamo. So we'll see. Going to have to run another big race like it did in that grade 3 at Turfway Park. But I think, again, if it is an off track, this one kind of should take to it pretty well. Others to consider, running B looks pretty good in here. Number 5, again, at Hamo. Number 7 has ran on a yielding turf course. Helms Deep, if we go to the dirt, has ran on some slop and mud. And I think that was it. So, again, another turf course, turf race that's kind of wide open. And here we go, the finale, race 13, the grade 1 Preakness. If you watch some of our other videos, we kind of put out a video of long shots that we thought would win or could win. And then we have the Scratch of Muth in here, kind of changing up some things and tactics of what we're looking at. So if you've watched our video, you know Uncle Heavy is kind of our long shot sneaky pick right now. Kind of like his win over that muddy Aqueduct in the Withers. And if we get some mud, Uncle Heavy could be heavy in the mud. The only thing here is I don't know what he's going to do on the pace. He gets Irad aboard for the first time. So that could play a thing into it. But Irad is like 1 for 22 going, I think, like 2 turns at Pimlico or something like that. So his stats are atrocious. But with this being a wide open race now, we're going to take a stab at 20-1 for this long shot bet. Again, could see him closing to finish underneath any exotics. Is kind of like the note right now. So we'll see and take a stab and what can happen. Our top pick in here, we're going to use Catching Freedom. Flavion Pratt, Brad Cox, finished fourth in the Kentucky Derby. The horse was running on really well. It definitely was probably the fourth, maybe not. Fourth best, fifth best horse that day. Comes out of the Louisiana Derby, winner of that. Third in the Risen Star behind Sierra Leone. Again, it's so tough to understand. Like, fourth place finish. The horse really didn't, run on incredibly that we could use it in here. But the workouts look good. Brad Cox knows a thing or two about what to do with horses in these situations. So it's a really good setup of, we want a fresh horse, but this one is kind of peaking at the right time kind of style. But again, we want price, and 6-1 right now is kind of the better option. Again, the pace scenario kind of muddles up what Catching Freedom is going to do. Second, we're going to try with Tuscan Gold. I think this one kind of sets up a little bit better on the pace side of things. Chad Brown knows a thing or two. I think he's won 2 of these or 3 of these things. This one gets Tyler Gaffalione aboard. Again, third in the Louisiana Derby behind Catching Freedom, another horse that's lightly raced. This horse is well rested, has some pretty good workouts coming in. I think the horse has been training at Pimlico here on the PPs. It does not show it, but the horse has been training at Pimlico this week leading up to the race. So should get some familiarity with the tight turns. 8-1, kind of like the price here. Of course, all these prices are going to shift with Muth being scratched out. So a lot can change. Mystik Dan, have to use him. If we get a Triple Crown bid going into the Belmont Stakes at Saratoga, holy cow, what's it going to do for horse racing? It's going to put it on the map for sure. And it's going to be the buzz. Definitely a big buzz. So again, comes out of the Kentucky Derby, gets the perfect trip. Brian Hernandez did the absolute rail ride of his life and set it up. Will he get it in here? I think he's going to have to change it up a little bit and probably go after Imagination a little harder than he's used to, causing for some disruption in what else could happen. Again, the horse is training well. Obviously, it looks great. It's doing everything that Kenny McPeak is asking it, and all the connections are super happy. And, we did the right thing by sending the horse here, whatever. But it looks really good coming in now. Probably will be the favorite, with Imagination possibly being a close second. In here with the scratch again of Muth. So we'll see if it can happen. Yeah, Imagination is one that we're probably going to leave off here, and if it bites us, it bites us. I'm fine with it. I just hope nobody lets this horse walk out onto the lead and it just wires the field like we've seen Baffert horses do. Somebody's got to go and challenge this horse, make it earn this Preakness win if that's what it's going to be for Frankie Dettori. I just would like to see somebody go out there and challenge it. There's just not a lot of horses in here right now with early speed that would be set up to do that. Just Steel, Sees the Gray, possibly. And then we'll see what kind of unfolds after that. If we do have some sort of crazy pace situations, Sees the Gray would be an interesting, because we know he can go out to the early lead or try to get the lead or press the pace in there, kind of like what he did in the Pat Day. And maybe be a pretty good price at definitely at 15-1. Again, Dwayne Lucas knows a thing or two about, coming off short rest. His numbers aren't the greatest in the past few starts, but kind of he knows a thing or two about horse racing. So for pointing the horse in here, 2 horses in here for sure off a short rest. The big indicator will be what will Lemon Muffin do. His Oaks horse, if she kind of fires in a big race on Friday, then we know these 2 are probably primed and ready to go. So kind of something to take note of as well. So, of course, there's our Preakness picks. So we're taking number 3, Catching Freedom on top. Tuscan Gold and Mystik Dan underneath with 2 long shot plays of Uncle Heavy and Sees the Gray. So we thank you for watching. If you're stuck around for the full video, we hope you liked the video. We hope you wager and win big for Preakness Day and get ready for some Belmont Stakes actions. If we have a Triple Crown on the line, so be it. It'll be time to party. So we thank you for watching and enjoy your weekend.